Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us in this session. We are very pleased and honored to have here with us tonight Viviane Carrijo and Kusha Shugman. Thank you very much, Viviane. Thank you very much, Kusha. I'll briefly say something about you, ladies. Viviane Carrijo, affectionately known as Vivi, is currently pursuing her postdoctoral fellowship at PUC São Paulo in the educational curriculum program. We've been doing things together for many years. We've had many interesting productions, trips, and togetherness, particularly academic ones. And now we have the honor also to have Kusha Shugman. We have been working together as well. Kusha is a researcher teacher at CUNY University of New York, and we've been doing several things together. Next year, yes, Kusha, we'll be here in Brazil. She'll be here in Brazil with us, and hopefully she'll be with us at the 14th CICTED in person. So we look forward to having you here, Kusha. And again, I'd like to thank you, ladies, for having accepted this invitation to join us, UNITAL team professors, to talk a little bit about what we've been doing in terms of the environment, particularly in education. Okay, Thiago, can you please go on? So, to start with, we are going to talk about eco-conscious minds and environmental care, STEAM, education, synergy. Kusha, in particular, she was going to say something about what she's been doing in terms of this connection between environmental care and education. And so Vivi will give some examples what we have been doing relate to that issue. Okay? So to start with, ladies, would you like to say something to start with?
I just want to say thank you for the invitation, and I look forward to having our conversation.
Yeah, thank you. And you, Vivi?
Yeah, the same here. Thank you, Francisco, for inviting me. Thank you, Kusha, to be here with me. And let's talk, people.
Okay, so let's get down to business then. Can you please, Tiago? So to start with, we aim at providing this talk the way we could foster eco-consciousness in students, as well as prepare students to be informed and proactive citizens in the face of ongoing environmental challenges. So to do that, Tiago, please, I'd like Kusha to give us a brief view of STEAM, which means stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, Arts, and Mathematics. I bet many of us have already heard at least Kusha, and if you could briefly and simply say something about it, would be very pleased.
Yes. So, STEAM for me is the idea that science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics that they work together to create change in our world, and that we learn and produce and teach not in these silos. So traditionally in school, you'll have your science class, your technology class, your math class. They're all all taught separately, but that the real heart, when you really start to be able to apply these different areas together, that's where you really are able to learn, and you're really able to create change, that the change that we need.
I see. It has to do with what you're trying to do with connectedness, yes? To
Hmm.
connect all these kind of knowledges.
Exactly.
Okay, then, Tiago, please, can you go on? So that's, in a shell, would say that what we are trying to tackle this in this session, yes, ladies, is how can we possibly integrate this environmental, what we call awareness, within this STEAM education framework, because we are going to provide you with some examples, some activities we've been doing so far. Okay? Can you, Tiago, please? So to start with, ladies, I'd like to pose a question so as to reflect about what I've been doing related to that. How can STEAM education be leveraged to cultivate eco-consciousness among students, equipping them with knowledge, skills, and attitudes to address contemporary environmental challenges? Can you please, Tiago?
So this is my part. So the first thing that I do when trying to inspire in children um, eco consciousness is that I think about real problems to be solved, and what in in the children's lives um, make STEAM something that's important. And so it's not like a theoretical thing, but a practical issue that you're applying your knowledge to, so that there's like a felt need that kids feel um, an impetus to really make change. So can you go
I
to the
see.
next slide?
And when you, just one question before we go on. When you say kids, on average, just to let people know, how old are they?
So the
Particularly the ones you are teaching.
yeah, the kids that I work with are 8 and 9 years old. So there is a tension, but with them being so young, there's a tension between um, showing, getting them scared. Like there's a tension between making them feel like it's important, and like scaring them so that they are frozen. So that they're like, oh, the problem's too big for me.
Yeah, too much, too many responsibilities, yes, on their shoulders. Yes.
Exactly. And also, exactly like you said, they've inherited this world. They didn't create this world. But it is going to be up to them to take part in
Exactly,
making it better.
exactly.
Thank you.
Great. Can you, Tiago, please go on?
Okay. So so now I'm going to talk about a specific situation that I created a project in response to. So this is a picture. These are different pictures of my school. So that's the school in the background. This is the parking lot, and there was a video. You can't really see it, but it's raining a whole lot. So the problem is obviously that the school experiences a lot of flooding. So, can you turn to the next?
Can you, Tiago, please?
So we connected our problem of flooding in our school to the floods that happen across the world. So this is an image of a video that I show to the students, and it has a floating school, and on top of this, up here on top, there are solar panels that power the school, and inside there's a library. So this is a school in Bangladesh where there's flooding that happens every year. So
Wow.
aside from my school, where there's, every time there's a flood, it's like they never expected it to happen. In Bangladesh, they know that there's a monsoon season, so they've created these technologies so that they're able to adapt to what they know is going to happen. Um,
Wow. That's
so I
interesting. Amazing.
Thanks. So I show this video to the kids to get them to start thinking about, okay, so how we have a problem that's similar to what's happening in other parts of the world. So how can we learn from what they've done in order to make change in our school or in our at the problems that we begin to face in the future? Because it's only going to get worse. And then something that I
Worst part.
yeah. So something that I want to note is that what I find really important about this project is that my students they're um, in a public school, but it's a predominantly white and very rich public school in America, in New York State. They're very privileged. And I think that it's very important that we take the time and look and see in other parts of the world how how they're solving the problems so that it's not always Americans going into another situation and we are the ones who have the answers, but how can we look towards other parts of the world and learn from them as well?
Yes, I guess by doing so, somehow you raising their awareness that that's what we call in here eco consciousness. That's
Yeah, exactly. So like eco consciousness isn't just about like what problems am I facing, but how am I a good,
yeah.
like a important part of a global solution?
And to what extent I can blame myself because of that. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
In Brazil now, we have just started the rain season, so it's now every now and then we have floods. Yesterday we did, so today we have us have already done. We have, and probably by the end of February, yes, Vivi, we'll heard lots of news, yes, about floods all over,
Yeah.
and uh, and deaths come along as well. Okay,
Right.
and the homeless people,
Mm,
and the story goes on every
yeah,
single year. Yes,
exactly.
nothing in terms of a real change. Is just nothing happens.
And like, yeah, the
Okay,
structure doesn't change. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Can you, Tiago, please?
So what the project that we do together is called the Floating School Project. And so this is a little a picture from the handout that I give to the students. So I want them to think about using models from other parts of the world. How can we use our imagination, use the arts, use technology to create models of our own floating school or a school that can withstand flooding, the flooding that we see every year.
Ah, that's nice. And have they done anything related to that in terms of arts?
Yeah. So if you go to the next,
Okay, Tiago, please.
oh,
Uh,
it comes up later. I'll show you the products later. So now it's Vivi's turn.
Oh
so
yeah, let's alternate that. By now, I liked your example so much because you could show how STEAM education can play a main role in cultivating eco consciousness among students by equipping them with the necessary knowledges, skills, and attitudes to face a contemporary environmental challenge. And for me, one effective strategy to create that is a space for dialogue, even with
Mhm.
fear or anxious,
Okay.
Okay. With this coming back, Tiago, just 1 second, Kusha. Tiago, Tiago, Tiago. Was so nice. Yeah, the discussion was.
It's such a good group. Oh, there she is.
Oh, there she is. Tiago.
Yeah, it's about the team. So
Tiago.
you just come. So, yeah, I would say so.
Tiago.
Oi, Francisco.
Tá, vocês ficaram sem energia?
Oi, desculpa.
Vocês ficaram sem energia?
Não, não, foi a conexão de vocês que caíram mesmo.
Ah, nós estamos na transmissão, né?
Isso, estamos ao vivo.
Ok, so nós podemos continuar. Okay, let's go on. Vivi was saying something about eco-consciousness and then so on and so forth. Sorry, folks. Desculpem pelo problema técnico que tivemos, que nós três caímos, tá? Desculpem. Vamos lá. Let's recap.
So just I was saying just one effective strategy for me is to create spaces for dialogue and experiential learning focus on that issues, the climate change. For example, in early July, I participated in the Quorum event with Francisco and our research group RIA in Ecorama, organized by the Brooklyn New School in New York. And that event celebrated the initiatives of students working to green the world. So coordinated by teachers, elementary school students set up interactive stations that integrated the disciplines of science, technology, engineering, arts, and maths. This approach aimed to promote creative and critical thinking while fostering environmental awareness. For example, in one station, participants could create essential oils from various plants to enhance the atmosphere, while another station involved marking magnetic clothespins for refrigerators and lavender sachets. And there was also a station that explored the mechanism of renewable energy, and one particularly engaged in activities allowed the participants to interact with earth, water, and natural elements to create new items that could later return to nature, such as soil cakes. So for me, it was very funny that part.
Yeah.
Because these activities significantly contributed to expand eco-consciousness as students gained insights into environment issues and the importance of caring for our planet. And then the collaboration among teachers from different disciplines enable students not only to acquire knowledge, but also to develop practical skills and attitudes that motivated them to take actions on these critical matters. And I will show to you later here about what my team did there and what assumptions the students for what 4 to 10
Four, yes, yeah. They were younger.
Talk about solutions to the world.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
Kusha, do you know if the Ecorama takes place once a year? Yes, every year. That's awesome. Absolutely. We are writing, I guess, our first opening article. Yes, on RIA. It's going to be based on that. This experience. Yes. Okay. Would you like to go on with the slide, Vivi?
Yeah,
Tiago, please. So now I have another question to delve into the what we have just proposed in terms of aim for this session. How can we combine science, technology, and arts to foster a deep understanding of environmental issues? Can you, Thiago, please?
Well, I really showed it, explain. Um, so I use technology to help so my students are 8 and 9. So I use technology to help them organize their information, and then also to help them research what has been done already, so that they can build prototypes for what might be possible. So if you could do the next slide.
You don't have here, is anything clickable here, Google Notebook?
Could you click on it?
Yes. Thiago, please, você pode clicar. Não, não, não. Volta um pouco, Thiago. Nesse Google Notebook, clicar, ele é clicável. Thiago, aí eu vou. Não
the
funciona.
links aren't working. Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Go on. Thiago, can you please go on?
They're just like organizational things. It's fine. So here's examples of the prototypes that my students made. So they went around and went to the cafeteria and collected like bits of recyclable materials and some tape and other just like things that they found around their houses. And they created different prototypes of what their schools could look like. So here on the top left part above the girls, in that one, they said that they could have a surface that it kind of like a dome-ish kind of thing where like their school could float on top of the water when it could go up as needed, and that there's they said that they had what are they? Solar panels on top, just like the school that they had seen. So they created a clear dome to allow the sun in, and then also to keep the heat inside so that all their electronics would be powered. And then the other ones all have the one on the bottom, which is like in the shape of a happy face in a house. They created legs that could expand and go down as needed. So it was like yeah, so that they could go along with what happens with the floods. And then these ones, I think they made where rather than it being a floating school, the water as it came down, it would go around. So they had like tunnels to allow the water to drift around them. So they were showing a lot of innovation. It's using the art. They're physically building something with their hands. They're using the materials that they have around them. And then they're creating like putting their ideas into effect. And there's a lot of like problem solving in collaboration, because what do you do when you want to have expandy legs, but somebody else wants to create like a floating school? So they really, it was a real project that they have to use all different parts of themselves.
That's very creative. Okay, this kind of school, the school would look like a robot. Okay, that's interesting. Yes, and besides everything I've just said, more than what to do, in terms of what to say, what to do, they really do. So hands-on activity. Okay.
Yeah, so the thing is that I always am amazed by with projects like these is that they come up with things that I would have never thought of. And so like, people are like, I think Vivi began to mention this, that like creating a space for dialogue, and also like not being afraid of putting anxiety on the children, because they really do have more to offer than a lot of times adults give them credit for. And if you would imagine that I didn't just provide this to the students as like an invitation to use what they already know in their imaginations. If I was like, oh, this is what a floating school already does, then I'm just teaching them about the past, right? About what's already been done, rather than giving them the opportunity to create what could
Yeah.
be.
What about in terms of what we call integrating other kinds of knowledge from science, maths? Is there a work among teachers aiming at the same product, final
So,
product? Is there any work among other teachers from different knowledges like
yeah,
science, mathematics,
yeah.
English connected?
That's a really good question. So in this particular, we have a separate science teacher, but we have 6 different 4th grade teachers that we work together as a team. So the project in itself, like the preparation for the project, the coming together, like making the notebooks for the kids, finding videos, finding the resources, creating even like where do we put the materials before, how do we there's later on a test where we put the school and put like hair dryers and water, and then we put them to see which school is able to withstand. So coming up with like the activities, I again couldn't have done it myself. It's because the different teachers came together to plan this activity for the kids, and we all bring our own, I was more interested in like, this has to be a group project, we have to give them this,
I see.
and then other teachers have other expertise that they share.
So they take advantage of your teaching actions to deepen something else. That's awesome.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for that question, it's great.
Yeah. Anything Vivi would like to say?
Yeah, know about that, but I was just thinking, Francisco, how we could organize our station without other kind of teachers, because we are from the applied linguistics and the English teacher, Portuguese teacher, and then we were there to discuss with the kids about the climate change using most part of science, technology, and arts. I don't know about maths, but
There
sometimes
might be some math.
yeah, yeah.
But
So
you're thinking about what we could have done, we could do when we were there in June.
yeah,
Had
yeah,
we had time, we could have done completely different, particularly after these reflections. Okay, next
yeah.
year, who knows? Yes,
How
Kushi.
you
When
say
it
about
comes,
that a little bit?
Yeah,
Like,
let's keep it going.
yeah.
você pode
Okay,
passar.
can you, Thiago, please?
Tia. Sorry. So, about our rain station in the Ecorama, we try to combine science, technology, and arts, particularly as demonstrated through this station. We call this station Rain Station. But initially, people from the Brooklyn New School encouraged us to focus our presentation on the Amazon forest, rainforest, but
Right.
then in that time, we faced several flooding. In the Rio Grande do Sul, so we chose to center our station around the rain show. To organize that, we used an engaged multiliteracy approach divided into 3 interactive moments. In the first part, children were invited to perform the sounds of rain using their bodies like this, engaging
That's so nice.
with clapping hands in this way until create a storm with the whole body. And it was very, very funny.
Pity
And
we
for
couldn't take photos. Yes.
yeah, we couldn't take photos, but it's in our
No.
mind.
Yes.
So
Yes. Yes.
for us, this experience connected then to concept of rain in a tangible way. After that, in a second moment, we showed a 30-second video of the climate disaster occurred in Rio Grande do Sul, highlighting the urgency of understand climate impacts and to reflect how rain can be a trouble. And in the second moment after it, the children watched another video that illustrated the importance of rain in nature, emphasized the balance between the environment and the humanity. And this helped them recognize the dual nature of rain as both a necessary resource and a potential cause of catastrophe events. And the final moment to focus on a reflection where we introduced the concept of the culture of good living, as discussed by Ayrton Krenak, indigenous famous here in Brazil. So use an adapted test suitable for the age group because we were working with kids with 4, 5 years.
4 year olds, yeah, so cute. Yeah,
So children, when then after that, were encouraged to draw their ideas for practices that could help face and overcome climate related issues stemming from excessive rainfall. And through this experience, we saw uh, clear for us a clear integration of science, understand the environment impact of rain, the bad and the good, and technology because we using video as a medium for education to reflect. And in ideal classroom, maybe the kids could did these videos. They can create videos
yeah,
too, not
yeah.
what that, but they, of course, they can create things
That's
with
nice.
that.
That'd be nice. Yeah,
And I want
Yeah.
to add, you said that there wasn't math, but there is because when you're having them clap, that's the rate. You're showing
yeah,
the rate of the water
exactly. That's right.
is like a
Yeah,
beautiful
Yeah.
embodied way to teach mathematics or tough
Yeah.
concept. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
nice.
Yeah, yeah, very nice. Yeah,
And
Check.
because of that, and because of that, Kusha, that moment, they were in the beginning, they were very happy, like, oh,
very
we're playing
excited.
with
Yeah,
that and laughing around that. And then when they watched the video, they were in shock at, like, oh my
yeah.
goodness, what's happened with
Particularly
rain?
when they faced the flood all over Rio Grande, so they were, wow.
Yeah. It's
Pity we couldn't take photos because they were shocked. Like, God, where did that happen? Does that happen? Some of them asked. Yes.
it reminds me of um when there was Hurricane Katrina. Do you guys,
Ah,
Mm,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
um, I was babysitting at the time a 5-year-old girl, and she said to me, you know, the worst part about it, Kushia, and it's not the worst part, but like for her, she was like, at first, hearing about all that rain, it sounded like fun, like a giant swimming pool. But then when I thought about what it meant for people, I got really upset that I thought about it like that. And that to me, I was like, wow, what empathy you're showing and like self reflectiveness, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. At
so
5 year old, yes.
5 years old, yeah, really like, oh, I shouldn't have thought it was all fun, you know, because that's always what they like go towards.
yeah,
And
and I
Vivi, you have also mentioned the art part when they were performing as at first. Yes, that's what was
think.
amazing as well.
Yeah, and I think that way we can organize that work with the eco-conscious mind. It is about Kusha said before about realize there is a problem, and when you watch that or when you live it, such that situation, hard situation, you can create this moment. So in that moment in the rain station, we couldn't create a bad moment with the rainy, like, oh, come back here and let's live in the flooding. Not, but we could give them the experience to exercise the empathy thing, like
Exactly.
see the problem, and see the importance of rain, and then say, okay, rain could be bad and rain could be good,
Yeah.
and what makes rain bad, and then they related it with the man, with us. So
Yeah,
you're making this with the nature, and that
Was
really
nice.
That's really wonderful. I love that you like got them out of this like binary thinking of like
Exactly.
it can be
Yeah.
two things. It can be two things
yeah.
at once.
And then
Also,
base their thoughts, Kusha, on Krenak's ideas of well living. That was something interesting as well.
Mhm.
Would you
Yeah,
now? You're going to show, yes, the outcome. Yes, Vivi.
yeah, I will show that too.
Thiago, Thiago, please.
Mhm.
Now there is and the outcome. You have the
It's
photo.
it's to answer this question.
Ah, okay, okay. So to answer this question, okay, you're very, very smart lady. We have a question before we go on. Would you like to answer that now or later on? Adriana, Tiago, Tiago, você pode mostrar a pergunta de novo, por favor? Adriana, can you see the question? In your opinion, what was the most creative question children have ever done for you? Well, not ever done. I can say to my eye, Adriana, was when we were there and but does that happen when they saw the flood, the videos of the flood all over Porto Alegre? That was, for me, was very creative in terms of how common, how common sense that's for us Brazilian here, particularly in the southern part of Brazil. Okay, it brings a lot there, but the question was creative in terms of how astonished they were by seeing the video. What about you, ladies?
Yeah, I think that moment, and especially when a girl told us, "Oh, my grandma told me about that. I already know that is happening in Brazil, and it is too bad. And I'm so sad with that. And now I need to what here again? So please." And she told me that, and then okay, let's watch this one about the importance. And oh, thank you, lady. And then
No, that's nice. Yeah,
because
cute. Am I
we
supposed to
had
watch this?
because we had there a lot of Brazilian in that school. It's an intercultural schools, and then the Brazilian come because we were there, and they, oh, we were Brazilian, so I come here to see, to what, and to learn with you too, and yeah, that happened. The sensory of children. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. What about you? Do you happen to remember, Kusha, any creative question?
um,
Yeah,
I
so many.
well, I have had kids who they um they were like, well, what if we look up what like animals can do when it floods, when it rains, like how do they react to it? And so that I thought was really interesting, like thinking rather than like what humans do to respond to these elements, what do animals do and how do they but we found out that they just move. So we were like we were like, okay.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on. How can project-based learning and hands-on activity in STEAM encourage students to innovate and design sustainable solutions for real-world environmental problems? So now we come along with your answer, Vivi, the outcome of our action. Can you, Thiago, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. So the video's not working, but so some of the things that we do for this project to make it for a project-based project is that we bring in experts. So Dan Carlin is the man in charge of like the business side of our school. So he came in and told us about how much money is spent every time there's a flood in the school, and how like they're saving up to buy like pumps so that they can like pump the water out, but that they're going to need to like redo the floors completely. And just like this aside of it, like I only really thought about like, the books are going to be gone, we have to leave for a long amount of time, but really like the behind the scenes processes that like adults are already doing. And so those like connections to real life and like what's happening in their school made this like a project based learning for us.
I see. I see. And you, Vivi, you have, I think, the post-its, yeah?
Yeah. And
That's
just to say, project, you can, Thiago, você pode passar.
Thiago.
So I think, here's the video, I think.
Ah,
We love the river, and we're successful in Grafton because of the Mississippi, but the Mississippi is also unpredictable. So while you live with all of the good things the river brings us, we also have to live with the unpredictability of the river.
Across the nation, communities and property owners seek ways to reduce damage from flood losses by regulating development in floodplains. One of the most common ways communities accomplish this is by adopting a freeboard requirement.
Freeboard is a higher regulatory requirement to elevate a structure above the minimum base flood elevation. It provides an additional level of protection against a flood.
The National Flood Insurance Program, or NFIP, requires buildings in high-risk flood hazard areas to be elevated to the 1% annual chance flood, sometimes called the base flood. Larger floods can and do occur,
So you
of
can
course,
pause this for
so
now.
freeboard reduces the
This is
risk
my
of future
video.
flood damage even more.
pausar.
Freeboard is
Thiago, pode
important for
pausar.
several
Yeah, so this was one, sorry, I didn't realize they were gonna, it came up later. So this was one of the videos that we showed to the kids when they were preparing to
Wow.
make it like a really, like, this is really something that happens. And we brought in math in this way. So like they with the information from Dan Carlin, they calculated how high it would have to be, what that line would have to be, so that like, those expandy legs, how tall they would actually have to go in order to be safe from the floods that we would have been experiencing.
We have something similar somehow. They are called palafitas, but definitely they are not in terms of infrastructure, and they are not at all similar to the ones. But the idea of having houses like that, okay, called palafitas. Okay?
Palafitas.
Palafitas, yes, around the rivers, particularly by the seaside. We have what we call mangues, and then we have this in the northern area of Brazil. We also have this palafitas. Usually it is a very poor neighborhood. Usually,
Yeah, because we decided when we were researching this, we were like, but again, this is based on the lines of how high it could be currently. But as the floods get more extreme, it's you can't keep just adding.
yes, yes.
It's preposterous.
The sky is not the limit, okay? The sky is not the limit at all.
Yeah. So
And now, can we go on with the video? Can you go on with the video?
Oh no, you don't have to go. That was the most important part.
Ok. Tiago, pode tirar o
First
vídeo
of all, it's an
e podemos continuar para o slide. O próximo, por favor. Yes.
Yeah.
You answer the question.
Yeah, I just want to say, like, I think projects like that Kusha done and the Ecorama inspired future initiatives such as exhibitions, awareness campaigns, and community engagement strategies. And in that, here in the Ecorama, we had this result in our station, and that happened after students participated in different interactive stations at the Decorama, and then they had the opportunity to propose ways to maintain harmonious relationship with rain and nature while facing the climate emergency. So that did not start with us in our station because, well, so their creative expression included suggestions like planting more trees, cleaning
Yeah.
up oceans and rivers, avoiding littering in street, and take care of plants, receiving family support, and leading healthier lifestyles. And you can say, "Oh, how can you see that?" Because I asked you that. What is going on? Tell me about that.
And mind you guys, they are about 4 or 5 years old,
Yeah.
okay? Yeah,
And then these ideas come from the student age 4, 5 to 10, and reflecting their genuine insights and perspective on sustainability. And through project based learning, students develop agents to think critically about their environment, collaborated with peers, and engaged in meaningful problem solving. I mean, so this approach not only develops their skills, but also instills a sense of responsibility and
responsibility.
dedication and shaping a sustainable future in and with their communities. And I'm very curious about what they created after that, because we were not there to see or to discuss with them or to what they created. But sometimes I am in the blog of the school or in the Instagram of the school, and I can see they continue working in things and creating projects to think about the ecologies, the problems we are facing. So yeah, so I think
Kusha, do you happen to know if they're supposed students after EcoRum they're supposed to do any project work, any written production?
Well, probably for the older
I
children,
see.
but in June, it's kind of.
Yeah, yeah. Particularly was the last week, I guess. Yeah, yeah.
But I do bet that the teachers build off what they've done in the
I
following
see.
year. Yeah.
mhm.
That's nice. Tiago, can you please, Tiago, por favor? So we have, I guess, one of the last questions. We are coming to the end. How can technological advancements and engineering practices be aligned with ecological principles to create sustainable and environmentally friendly systems? Can you, Tiago?
Oh, so again, so I just have another picture of the kids' products, and I'm just going to highlight. Um, so these are just prototypes, but if you think about it as like a springboard for what kind of learning this could inspire for in the future. So with the girls who are like looking at this robot school, that would mean like learning about programming. How do we what sensors would we need to detect the water, and then to be able to extend these legs. That would take like programming, it would take engineering skills, learning about the the solar panels on the top, also the different ways that solar panels work, and that light is absorbed and then turned into electricity. And then with the boys over in that corner, what kind of materials would you need to invest in order for
Mm,
these kinds of things to actually work out? So right now they're not really learning how to do this, but they are taking a technology class where they're learning basic coding, where they're able to, for instance, use sensors to move a robot back and forth. So as they're moving forward with their academic career, they can begin to integrate these ideas into fruition.
Nice. Anything else with you to say?
Yeah, I
And also,
just
I'm sorry. Sorry to
sorry.
butt in. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I just bring it to us some reflection about that, and then another slide, just to, to say. So Thiago can.
Ah, got it.
Sorry. So I just found this article from Fixel 2003, and I was very impressed about this picture because it's about aligning technological advancements and engineering with ecological principles, and for them it's important to develop this technology with key ideas from ecology in mind, like saving natural resources, protecting biodiversity, and reducing waste. And in this image, you can see the need, well, what we need to do to think about both economic and ecological factors, because in the world we are always think about the economic and not in the relation with the ecological factors, when we can design and producing things to truly achieve the sustainability. So for me it's a good example how we can extending, but in our project I think we are creating new ways of being in the world, and then we are mess up with this system. And another picture, no próximo slide, Tiago, você pode passar. In this one, you can see this relation more than the another one. Like you can see here the infinity shape, like the
Mhm.
infinity shape suggests that these domains of physical domains, which include the factors such as water, air, biota, the organic life, land, and energy. It highlights essential elements for physical survival, such as sanitation and nutrition, and the socioeconomic domain encompass aspects like community, growth, respect, health, and safety. It focuses on human and social needs such as belonging, wealth, equity, shelter, and mobility. And this suggests these two domains are interconnected and mutually influential, and they to represent the continuous exchange and dependence between physical resources and social values. And for me, that is the good living we are trying to
Uh,
bring it to our schools when we are working with that things. Like there's a social economic problem, but what causes the social economic problem that affects the nature, and how we can overcome this situation. For me, I don't have answer for this question you made. It's challenge, so I hope I can find some some solutions, or some ways of fighting against that, against the problems in the process, creating open to the open the space to students creating with me, and I can create with the teachers community, and we all can create together. It's an ideal and I dream, I know, but yeah, I think it is possible.
yes, we can see it's possible. Have done things like that. Okay? At least
Yeah.
spark reflections, yes, by doing so. Can you, Thiago? I guess. Now, I just before we open up to questions, ladies, Thiago, pode voltar para o terceiro slide? I'd like we three, yes, if you were to o terceiro slide. If you were to say just using a few words, yes, exactly. If in terms of coming back to the aim, yes, the objective of our session. Now we are coming to the end, and then we have the session for questions. If you were to say in a few words, something related to how can we possibly foster eco-consciousness in students and prepare them to be informed and proactive citizens. Well, how, in a shell, by showing what we have done, yes. How can we possibly say so?
I would say, well, something I'll say something that I learned from your presentation, Vivi, rather than maybe restating my own. My favorite part of yours was the kids clapping, and I think it goes along really nicely with kind of what I'm doing, but in a different way, which is like creating like an embodied, um, like physical, real connection with what you're talking about. So rather than like reading something,
Yeah. Or
your
being lectured.
are active and they're drawing upon. Um, I love that they're drawing upon performance, and like music and the sound. Like you can feel what it's really like. So that's what I learned. Like that you should be trying to create like something that
This connect.
breaks through. Yeah, connection.
And you, Vivi?
Yeah, thank you, Kusha. I think it's about create this space for our students living this drama situation, So
Mm,
sometimes we created in our other project called Brincada, for example, a moment where we were working with the trash waste things,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
we put the a lot of waste in the classroom, and
All
then the
over.
students go there and it's too dirty here, it's a mess because it's and smell so
Yeah,
so
yeah,
and they could leave the situation about what's
yeah.
that, what's happened here, what we are doing with our trash. So um but I think also we need to do what you said, Kusha. We need to listen the children and create space to them to create things without our command, but we can be there to facilitate it, things, of course, and take care because yeah, it could be dangerous. But we don't need to say, "Oh, we need to do that. That is the idea. We need to do that to change the world," because they can create things too, and you can think, "Oh, it is a early children. It is they are new, so youngest." But then they are creating that in the beginning of the childhood and not like me in my old life. So it's different because we are there creating ways to them to grow with that. So I think
Yeah.
you should believe more in our children. So
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
think to build off that, they already have so much eco consciousness that it really is just supporting what they that's what's great about working with children. So like I was with a 6-year-old and we saw a homeless person and I was kind of like they were like, why are they laying on the ground? And I was like, well, they don't have a home, so that's why they're on the ground. And she was like, well, everyone should have a home. It's just like and it's like, yeah, everyone should have a home, and
Empathy, yeah.
we could build from, it's just the reality that sometimes, right, in our old lives, we make it more complicated than it has to be.
I see. So if I were just to round this off, yes, adding what you have just Lady said, if I were asked how can you possibly foster eco consciousness in students, prepare them to be informed and proactive, I'd say that we could possibly foster situations, pedagogical situations in which students can feel, taking particularly what you have just said, Kusha, in which situations they could feel emotionally, bodily, and mentally involved. Just by saying these questions. Everyone should have a home, or why does that happen? So doing it does, and we know that that does not guarantee, but we are somehow trying to raise their consciousness in terms of what we are facing. Uh, Possibly, if you don't do anything now, we don't know if we're going to come to this next century, yes, especially children. Yes. So, okay, thank you very much, Lady. It was a real pleasure and learning experience, as usual, sharing this moment with you, ladies. Now, guys, the ones who are, quem está em casa, gostaria de fazer perguntas. We are going to see if you have any questions, Kusha and Vivi. Vocês podem escrever no chat. I don't think we have any questions. Only one from Adriana. So, if you don't have any questions, so we are supposed to finish this off. Thank you very much again. Yes, Kusha. Hope to see you soon. Yes. I'm going to see Vivi next Saturday at Brincadas. And definitely we're going to do lots of things together and try to raise this students' eco-consciousness to save our planet. Okay? Thank you very much.
Bye.
You're
Thank you so
welcome.
much.
Bye-bye.
Bye, bye, everyone.